Throughout history, powerful leaders have emerged from different corners of the world, leaving behind legacies of conquest, innovation, and brutality. Whether driven by ambition, ideology, or pure power, these conquerors reshaped borders and altered the course of history forever. Here are the top 10 greatest conquerors of all time. Number 10. Sargon of Akkad, 2334 to 2279 BC. Founder of the Akkadian Empire, Sargon is often considered the world's first true conqueror. His empire encompassed much of Mesopotamia, including parts of modern-day Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. Sargon's military strategy included the establishment of a standing army, something unheard of during his time. This allowed him to launch numerous successful campaigns and consolidate his control over rival city-states. His innovative bureaucracy, employing loyal officials to manage provinces, laid the groundwork for future empires. Despite the eventual decline of his empire, Sargon's legacy endured, influencing rulers for centuries. His strategies, including the establishment of military garrisons and trade networks, enabled him to maintain control over a sprawling territory. Next up, Charlemagne, 742 to 814 AD. Known as the Father of Europe, Charlemagne was the king of the Franks who established the Carolingian Empire, uniting much of Western and Central Europe. Through a series of military campaigns, he conquered territories across modern-day France, Germany, Italy, and beyond. His reign marked a revival of art, culture, and religion, known as the Carolingian Renaissance. Charlemagne's military strategy relied on swift, decisive strikes with well-trained infantry and cavalry. His crowning as Emperor of the Romans by Pope Leo III in 800 AD symbolized the union of Christian authority with secular power, laying the foundation for the Holy Roman Empire. His governance model, blending religion and politics, provided a stable structure that continued to influence Europe for centuries. Number 8. Hernán Cortés, 1485 to 1547 AD. Driven by ambition and religious zeal, Hernán Cortés led an expedition resulting in the fall of the Aztec Empire. Arriving in Mexico in 1519, Cortés quickly formed alliances with rival indigenous groups who opposed the Aztecs. His strategic use of diplomacy and force allowed him to topple a powerful civilization. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Cortés's forces, armed with steel weapons, firearms, and horses, overwhelmed the Aztec warriors. His conquest was marked by betrayal, manipulation, and sheer ruthlessness. Though controversial, Cortés's achievements altered the course of history by paving the way for Spanish colonization of the Americas. His ability to exploit internal divisions among the indigenous peoples played a critical role in his success. Number 7. Cyrus the Great, 600 to 530 BC. Founder of the Achaemenid Empire, Cyrus the Great established what became the largest empire the world had seen at the time. His conquests included the Median Empire, Lydia, and Babylon. Unlike many conquerors, Cyrus was known for his mercy, tolerance, and innovative governance. One of his greatest achievements was the conquest of Babylon in 539 BC. The famous Cyrus Cylinder, often considered the first charter of human rights, demonstrated his enlightened approach to leadership. His administrative system, relying on regional governors, satraps, became a model for future empires. His policies of religious tolerance and cultural integration helped maintain stability across a diverse empire. Number 6. Attila the Hun, 406 to 453 AD. Attila the Hun, called the Scourge of God, was one of the most feared conquerors of the ancient world. As leader of the Huns, he launched devastating raids across Eastern and Western Europe, reshaping the political landscape. Unlike many conquerors, Attila's campaigns were driven by plunder and tribute rather than empire building. His sudden death in 453 AD led to the rapid collapse of Hunnic power, but his legacy as a terrifying conqueror endures. His military tactics relied heavily on mobility and psychological warfare, using fear as a weapon to subdue enemies. Number 5. Tamerlane, Timur, 1336 to 1405 AD. Tamerlane, also known as Timur, sought to recreate the empire of Genghis Khan. His brutal campaigns across Central Asia, Persia, and India were characterized by unmatched brutality and strategic brilliance. Despite his ruthlessness, Timur was also a patron of the arts and architecture, transforming Samarkand into a flourishing cultural hub. His empire, built on fear, quickly fragmented after his death. However, his legacy endured through his descendants, most notably Babur, who founded the Mughal Empire in India. Timur's military innovations and architectural achievements have left a lasting cultural impact. Number 4. Julius Caesar, 100 to 44 BC. Julius Caesar remains one of the most renowned military generals and statesmen of all time. Born into a patrician family during a time of political unrest in Rome, Caesar's ambition and tactical brilliance allowed him to rise through the ranks of the Roman Republic. His most famous conquest was the Gallic Wars, 58 to 50 BC, during which he expanded Rome's territory into modern-day France, Belgium, parts of Switzerland, and even parts of Britain. The Gallic Wars solidified Caesar's reputation as a master strategist. His campaigns were marked by innovative siege techniques, exceptional logistics, and the effective use of both Roman legions and allied forces. His intelligence network was advanced for the time, allowing him to anticipate enemy movements and respond decisively. His victory at the Battle of Alesia in 52 BC is particularly remembered for his use of fortifications and calculated strategy to encircle and defeat a much larger Gallic force, Daxis. His victory over Pompey and his subsequent appointment as dictator for life transformed Rome's political landscape forever. Caesar's rapid accumulation of power and his refusal to relinquish control earned him many enemies. In 44 BC, he was assassinated by a group of senators who feared his growing influence and potential to become a tyrant. Despite his death, Caesar's legacy endured. His reforms, military strategies, and the foundations he laid would influence Rome's transition from republic to empire under his heir, Augustus. Number 3. Napoleon Bonaparte, 1769 to 1821 AD. Napoleon Bonaparte rose from modest beginnings on the island of Corsica to become Emperor of France and one of history's greatest military commanders. His campaigns during the Napoleonic Wars, 1803 to 1815, reshaped the political landscape of Europe and left a lasting impact on military strategy, governance, and culture. Napoleon's military genius lay in his ability to adapt and innovate. His use of massed artillery, combined arms tactics, and rapid maneuvers allowed him to achieve decisive victories against numerically superior forces. His tactical brilliance was demonstrated in battles such as Austerlitz, 1805, where his forces defeated the combined armies of Austria and Russia. However, Napoleon's ambitions ultimately led to his downfall. His invasion of Russia in 1812 ended in disaster, with his Grande Armée reduced to a fraction of its original size due to harsh weather, scorched earth tactics, and relentless harassment by Russian forces. The disastrous campaign marked the beginning of his decline. Following his defeat at the Battle of Leipzig in 1813 and eventual exile to Elba, Napoleon made a dramatic return to power in 1815, a period known as the 100 Days. His final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo ended his reign for good, and he was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena, where he died in 1821. Number 2. Genghis Khan, 1162 to 1227 AD. Genghis Khan, born Temujin, rose from a life of hardship on the Mongolian steppes to establish the largest empire in history. His story began in a brutal, tribal environment where betrayal, conflict, and survival were constants. After uniting the Mongol tribes under his banner, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, or universal ruler, in 1206. Genghis Khan's military conquests were defined by his extraordinary tactical brilliance, organizational skill, and ruthless efficiency. His armies were built on a meritocratic system that valued loyalty and competence over noble birth. The Mongol cavalry, famed for their speed and endurance, employed sophisticated strategies such as feigned retreats, encirclement, and psychological warfare to overwhelm their enemies. Under his leadership, the Mongols launched campaigns that devastated and conquered vast territories across Asia and Eastern Europe. China, Central Asia, Persia, and parts of Eastern Europe all fell to his forces. His campaigns against the Khwarezmian Empire were particularly brutal. Entire cities were razed, and millions were killed in retaliation for the execution of his emissaries. Despite his reputation as a bloodthirsty conqueror, Genghis Khan was also a visionary leader who promoted trade, communication, and cultural exchange across his empire. He established the famous Silk Road trade routes, ensuring safe passage for merchants and travelers. By the time of his death in 1227, Genghis Khan's empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea. Number 1. Alexander the Great, 356 to 323 BC. Alexander the Great is often regarded as the greatest military leader in history. Born to King Philip II of Macedon and Queen Olympias, Alexander was trained from an early age in the arts of war and leadership. Tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, he developed a keen intellect that complemented his natural charisma and ambition. After the assassination of his father, Alexander ascended to the throne of Macedon at the age of 20. Determined to fulfill his father's dream of conquering the Persian Empire, he launched an extraordinary military campaign that would take him across 3 continents. Alexander's tactical genius was evident from the start. At the Battle of Granicus, he defeated a Persian force much larger than his own through rapid maneuvering and coordinated assaults. This victory opened the way for his conquest of Asia Minor. His subsequent victories at Issus and Gaugamela showcased his ability to adapt and overcome overwhelming odds. The Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BC is often considered his greatest victory. Despite being heavily outnumbered by the forces of King Darius III, Alexander's discipline and tactical ingenuity led to a decisive triumph. Darius fled the battlefield, effectively leaving the Persian Empire at Alexander's mercy. Within a decade, Alexander had conquered the Persian Empire, Egypt, and much of Central Asia, creating one of the largest empires in history. His relentless ambition drove him to march his armies as far as India, where he faced fierce resistance but continued to achieve victory. He actively promoted cultural integration, encouraging marriage between his Macedonian soldiers and local populations. The spread of Greek culture throughout the known world, a phenomenon known as Hellenization, left a lasting impact on art, science, language, and governance. Alexander died at the age of 32 in 323 BC under mysterious circumstances in Babylon. His empire quickly fractured among his generals, known as the Diadochi, but his legacy endured. The cities he founded, most notably Alexandria in Egypt, became centers of learning and culture for centuries. And there they are, the top 10 conquerors in history. Please like, subscribe, and comment so we can make more exciting videos for you.